Hello my peeps, this is Ket, aka Kakibot, and this is Kakibot's guidebook. And today I am taking you outside of UK, even outside of Europe, because we are in Japan, and I've decided to make 2 videos about traveling around Japan this time. We are here for a month, a bulk of it in Tokyo, but I'm not going to be making any videos anymore about that because I think there's enough videos about Tokyo and Osaka and Kyoto on the internet. However, some of the areas that we are going to, I feel like very underappreciated. So yeah, I've decided to take you along with us. In this video, we are going northeast into Tohoku, which is this like cluster of prefectures north of Tokyo. Apparently some of the areas up in Tohoku, which, you know, some of the areas that are actually supposed to be popular, get less than 2% of the total volume of visitors that do go to Japan visiting it. So I don't know, that's a shame because they do seem great and I'm very excited to go there, and I'm even more excited to take you with us. Doesn't matter if you're into city life or food or little adventures, because we are gonna show you all. Alrighty, I can't wait to show you Tohoku. Let's go! We took the train from Tokyo Station and started our week-long explorations in Yamagata, both the city and the eponymous prefecture. The city felt quiet, but right after a working week in Tokyo, this was very much needed. Apart from the train station area, the city basically lacks any high-rise buildings, so you can really enjoy all the mountains looming over it. And there's also a pretty castle area, which is supposed to be wonderful during the sakura season, but even the autumn leaves were nice. After a long day of travels, we've decided to have an evening filled with little treats, starting with this artisan coffee house. After that, we've walked around some more. The city felt really quiet, but this is Japan, so it also felt very, very safe. Just behind the Yamagata Folk Museum, we found this chocolate and patisserie shop and picked up a persimmon cake. Just in case you didn't know this, a little fun fact, kaki, which is kind of my nickname, is also Japanese for persimmon, so this fruit is literally calling to me. And to top it all off, a beautiful pork katsu at the train station. Now let me tell you, this was peak crunchiness. We also tried some tama konnyaku, a local specialty, konnyaku balls cooked in dashi served with mustard. From what I've seen, many people stay here mostly to then embark on various day trips. There are many onsens in the area, plus beautiful temples and also winter sports resorts. Our plan for day 2 was to visit the mountain temple of Yamadera, but we didn't want to go first thing in the morning to not climb in the sweltering heat of midday. Instead, we had a bit of a bonus city exploration first. Now, Yamadera is just about half an hour away by train from Yamagata Station, so a really easy trip, possibly doable in half a day. We celebrated our arrival with some soba, another meal that is typical for this prefecture. This is a chewy buckwheat noodle, usually dipped in flavorful broth. I would love to hear in the comment section below what type of Japanese or just widely Asian noodle is your favorite. Yay, we made it to Yamadera, which is actually the main reason why we went to Yamagata to start with. This is one of Japan's power spots, meaning if you do make it here and you do climb all of the 1,000+ steps, then you should be getting some good luck in return. So that is exactly what we're gonna do today. It is quite warm and it is kind of close to midday, so I'm hoping to not get some sort of like fun heat stroke, but I think that the luck I'm gonna get for climbing this is worth it. Let's do this. The climb up was really a lot less challenging than I feared, probably due to all the stops one takes to enjoy the scenery. Plus, it is just so worth it, with stunning views over the valley. This was a workday, which I would recommend as opposed to weekend. I think you're really gonna have a lot more space to enjoy the serenity of this power spot. Before saying goodbye to Yamagata, we stopped by Kajo Central. Do yourself a favor and take the elevator to the top floor to watch the sunset over mountain ranges. It is just the perfect goodbye to the city. A new day, a new prefecture. Today it's Aomori and we are actually in Aomori City, the capital of Aomori Prefecture. Aomori is famous for apples, for paper floats and also a lot of kids, I think, because we have already tried to shoot this like 5 times and there's always some screaming going on. So thankfully I do find these kids extremely cute. So I'll get over it. Okay. The journey here was kind of semi-complicated. We had to take 3 different trains. I think that if you're in Tohoku for the first time ever and you've never been to Sendai, it would be probably the smartest to take another stop for like 2 nights in Sendai. We didn't do that because we've been to Sendai twice already. So if you are watching this and you're planning a trip to Tohoku, maybe do that. But for us, we wanted to go straight to Aomori and we're gonna now check out what's available to do here in the city, and tomorrow we're going on a little day trip. Aomori is quiet. I don't want to use the term dead because I feel like that would dissuade people from visiting, and that would be a pity because I guess what I'm struggling to put into words here is that this is a town where you can see and photograph this charming 70s vibe in wonderful peace and serenity. It's a city that many travelers use as a little stopover before traveling on to Hokkaido or possibly even further, as it seems like there are many ferry connections landing and departing from here. Due to this, most of the more obvious tourist hotspots are by the train station and ferry landings. First of all, you have the A Factory, a very food-centric souvenir shop, an absolute must for anyone wanting to try local apples, apple juice or alcoholic cider. They do have a lot of kinds and I do recommend having a little taste test at the hotel room. Right next to it, you will find the Nebuta Museum, filled with local paper lantern floats. These things are absolutely humongous, and being able to walk right next to them was amazing and really awe-inspiring. up close, you really have to appreciate the artisanal skill going into these, seeing the paper and ink textures backlit by lamps. For me, this is absolutely a must-visit museum. Next morning, we started by grabbing some tasty coffee from this ever so charming coffee shop called Le Jetan. Sorry if I butchered the name. As it is often the case with Japanese coffee shops, the brew here is on the bitter side and is made with just so much care. That, however, means that it might take longer than expected, so don't order coffees if you're in a hurry. Good morning! We are at the Towada Hachimantai National Park here in Aomori. We took a bus from the Aomori station. Some of those buses take about an hour, some of them hour and a half. Ours took hour and a half, but there were beautiful views most of the drive, so I recommend either length, doesn't really matter. We are here to get up to Hakoda Mountain. It's actually a range of volcanoes still active, so that's always fun, but then again in Japan that kind of comes with the whole deal. We are gonna take the ropeway. This is the bottom station of the ropeway. I think it takes about 10 minutes to get all the way up there. We are actually quite high up already, but I do believe that the highest point of Hakoda is about 1,500 meters. So I think we should have some absolutely spectacular views from the cable car pod. I can't wait. It is so autumny today. I am really excited. On top of Mount Hakoda, you can either just chill for a while with a hot coffee, enjoy the views, or you can go on one of the local hiking trails. We picked one of the shorter ones. We wanted to make sure we will make it back on time for the bus. Now this trail was still about 90 minutes long, and I think due to the snow that was still melting around the area, it was quite muddy, which explains why earlier I noticed that there were some wellies available to borrow at the cable car station. Well, too late for that now. My main tip here would be getting to the bus stop for your trip back at least 30 minutes in advance, because this is not the bus's first stop on the way back to Aomori, so there will perhaps not be that many spaces left on the bus. Yeah, well, we had to take a 50 quid cab back to the city, which is honestly not that horrid considering it took almost an hour, but still, we could have spent that on noodles. Instead, we got dropped off at one of the local bakeries to try some apple pie, because, again, Aomori, famous for apples. Now, Japan is not too fond on cinnamon, so these pastries are kind of mild, but by no means bad. If you like your apples sweet and pastries full of layers and crunch, you will be more than happy. Today, let me welcome you to the Iwate prefecture. We are in Morioka city, which is Iwate's capital. It is a pretty easy day trip to make from either Tokyo or Sendai, and Sendai tends to be that sort of first trip that people make into Tohoku area. So if that's where you're starting, do yourself a favor, visit Morioka. We have been around for a while now and we are really loving it. This is a city which has this sort of European feel almost to me. It has this beautiful river area and the most stunning view of Mount Iwate, which is kind of a Fuji-like presence on the horizon. So today we're going to be exploring Morioka. We're going to show you everything we love about it, and tomorrow we are going to stop by a whole new prefecture, Akita. Woof. Now, can you guess what the mascot of Morioka is? It's a little bowl of noodles, because that's what Morioka is famous for. 3 local noodle specialties, also known as the 3 great noodles of Morioka. That's the Korean-style ramen, the meaty miso Chinese-style jajangmyeon, and also the light buckwheat-based wanko soba. For us, this was a night to try jajangmyeon in a small local noodle shop, where the owner managed to have an amazing banter with us despite the solid language barrier. Next day we decided to walk all around the city. The Uchimaru area, which I think is just so charming, and the Sakurayama Shrine, located right next to the castle park. And from there we walked toward the local temple area too. My favorite spot was the Hoonji Temple, known for 500 statues of Buddhist disciples. It is, however, also seated under these huge, beautiful, peaceful trees, just guaranteed to take all of your travel worries away. Okay, for today's half-day trip, we chose Kakunodate. And Kakunodate is a former castle town and a former samurai stronghold. Now, the castle is not here anymore, but the samurai quarter is still in a really good condition, even after 400 years. That is how long these houses have been around. You can pop into some of them for a fee, some of them kind of for free. You can explore around. There's also a little art gallery. There are also Akitas, because guess what? We are actually in a new prefecture today. We are in Akita prefecture, which is obviously the home of the Akita Inu dog. So if you think like, oh, would it be nice to meet some dogs here? You will, as we will show you soon. Excited. This is also one of Tohoku's top sakura spots. Obviously this is autumn, as you can tell. This is kind of getting way past autumn peak now here in the mountains, but it's still beautiful, I think. So if you come maybe a bit earlier in October, that might be perfect. And if you're here in spring, then you absolutely cannot miss the sakuras here in Kakunodate. Kakunodate is perfect if you want to feel like you stepped into a whole other century. Just walk through the merchant quarter into the samurai residential neighborhood and maybe pick up a little pudding on the way. Wink wink, nudge nudge. There is also a local who will actually let you come say hi to her Akitas for a tiny fee. Personally, I am more than game to pay to pet a cute dog. I mean, wouldn't you? Look at her! So before we say our final bye-bye to Morioka, let's try another one of those great noodle dishes. This evening it's gonna be a bowl of Morioka ramen, an amazing, refreshing cold noodle with a light but well-spiced broth. Very Korean style. Loved it. And so we made it to the end of our big Tohoku adventure, and I am really quite sad. I had a great time, and especially here in Morioka, I really liked this city. Like, I kept thinking, I know I always say that. I always come to a new city and the weather is great, and I spent like 2 days there, and I always think like, ooh, I could live here. But honestly, out of all the cities I've been to in Tohoku, I think that Morioka is the best one. Even just like this little area around the river is so charming to me. It's so, again, so European, which, you know, that probably sounds weird, but I just wanted to say that in the other cities where we've been, there just wasn't nearly as much kind of like youthful energy in how the city feels, how it feels to exist in it and enjoy the little shops and cafes and this sort of situation. So that's been a lot of fun, and I'm really sad to be leaving Morioka, and I don't know when is going to be the next opportunity to come here again, but I'm gonna try to return. Ideally next time, if I manage to bring my sister, I would love to bring her here, because this has been a lot of fun. One thing that I forgot to mention in the start when I was introducing Morioka is that this is where one of my favorite OG J-vloggers used to live, which is Charla, who is now engaged to one of my favorite YouTubers ever, Chris Broad. Speaking of people and being connected to them, I do have to say that Morioka and Tohoku in general doesn't seem to have that many people in it, which I mean in the best way possible. When you come from Tokyo right now, compared to how it was during our first trip ever, which was 9 years ago, is very busy, and a lot of the places that I would normally recommend you going to are just, it's just so many people. It just gets quite overwhelming, and it's quite hard to enjoy it the way I would like you to enjoy it, because it's just too busy, just too many people, even at night, where like traditionally it got quite emptied out. Tohoku is the opposite of that. There's just like so much to see and so many places I would recommend visiting, most of them, you know, from this video, and just nobody is here. Like every day you would meet like, I don't know, like 2 other tourists, especially here in Morioka. the sort of balance feels really off in that this seems to be a really youthful, really fun city with quite a lot to offer to tourists, to visitors from abroad, and yet none of them come here. Like, why is that? So if you do want to enjoy Japan the same way as we did those almost 10 years ago, I think you should definitely come to Tohoku. Okay, I think that is truly it. I'm gonna go and enjoy my last night here in Morioka, which I totally fell in love with. I'm gonna go eat more noodles, I think, because Morioka, city of noodle. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've ever been to Tohoku. Oh, and if you enjoy this video and if you like my face and if you want to know what I'm up to, you can always visit me on Instagram, say hi, send me a message there. That's either under Kaki blog, where I share most of my travel stuff and kind of like a lot of Scotland and Edinburgh based content, or you can visit me on Kaki bot, which is more of my art and illustration and design based account. Yes, okay, say hi and I shall see you soon.